الحمد لله أحمده واستعينه واستهديه واستغفره وأؤمن به جل وعلا ولا أكفره وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وأرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله والله كره المشركون. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. This way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأوثق الأمور كلمة التقوى وخير الملال ملة إبراهيم وخير السنن سنة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله وأحسن القصص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوازنها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفاء وخير الهادي ما أثباء وشر أما الكذب. The Prophet ﷺ said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is Taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the communities is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. Best acts is one that yields benefits. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inna Allah ya'muru bil-'adli wal-ihsani wa ita'i dhil-qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsha'i wal-munkari wal-baghi ya'idhukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah in His plan willing to guide, He opens their breasts to Islam. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتون إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of Islam. وَأَتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And hold fast altogether by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided amongst yourselves. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. You are the best people ever raised or evolved for mankind, because you enjoin the right, you forbid the wrong, and you believe in Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The subject today is Qadr. In fact, I'm going to read more than talk today to try to stay on track a little bit. Qadr, or Taqdir, according to Ragi, means the making manifest of the measure, kumiyya, of a thing, or simply measure. In the words of the same authority, Allah's Taqdir of things is in two ways: by granting Qadr, that is power, or by making them in a particular measure and in a particular manner, as wisdom requires. An example of this is given in the Taqdir of a date stone, out of it which is the palm only that grows, not the apple or the olive or any other tree, or in the Taqdir of the sperm cell of man, out of which grows man only. Taqdir is therefore the law or measure which is working throughout the whole of creation. And this is exactly the sense in which the word is used in the Holy Quran. For example, the Holy Quran speaks of the Taqdir of each and everything that has been created. Glorify the name of thy Lord, Most High, who creates, then makes complete, and who makes things according to a measure, that is, Qadr, from Taqdir, then guides them to their final goal. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى. So it's glorify the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All glory and all praise and honor is due to Allah. And that's why it says Sabbih isma rabbikal a'la. I'll get to Rabb a little bit later. Sabbih isma rabbikal a'la alladhi khalaqa, created. So Allah is al-Khaliq. I don't know if we have it on the board, but we have it in all of our books. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-Khaliq. So Allah created everything according to a measure. Each thing has its own measure. And then He gave it a mode and a method to travel, and He guided each thing along that road to its own evolution and perfection. Other ayahs say, who created everything, then ordained for it a measure, that is a taqdir. Surely we have created everything according to a measure, Qadr. Then the sun runs on a term appointed for it. This is the law, taqdir, of the mighty, the knowing. And as for the moon, we have ordained Qadran from taqdir for its stages. So everything is moving on according to a measure, according to its own orbit, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everything in the universe. And He put everything in a mode of travel and movement that fits its capacity. And there's not a thing but is with us are the treasures of it, and we do not send it down but in a known measure. That could be rain or anything else that Allah sent down. Allah has appointed a measure from taqdir of the night and the day. All these verses go to show that according to lexicologists, taqdir in the language of the Holy Quran is a universal law of Allah, operating as much as in the case of a man as in the rest of nature. A law extending to the sun, the moon, the stars, and the earth, and the heavens, all that exists in them. This universal law is fully explained in the verse. That's the verse that I just mentioned about Allah's al-Khaliq and Tafweed, giving its form of completion, and Hidayah, giving it guidance. The law of life, as witnessed in nature, is exactly the law described here. Everything is created so as finally to attain to its completion. This completion being brought about according to the law or a measure which everything works by divine guidance. Thus the taqdeer of everything is the law or the measure of the growth and development. Now there's something about foreknowledge here. I'll read a little bit about it. The doctrine of predestination, or the decreeing a good course for one man and an evil course for another, thus finds no support in the Holy Quran, which plainly gives to man the choice to follow one way or another. But it is said that the doctrine of decreeing of good and evil follows from the doctrine of foreknowledge of Allah. If Allah knows what will happen in the future, whether a particular man will take a good or evil course, it follows that the man must take that particular course. For the knowledge of Allah cannot be untrue. Now, in the first place, it must be clearly understood that Allah's knowledge of the future means the fact that the future is an open book to Allah, the limitations of space and time, which are everything to man, nothing but Allah, are nothing but to God. Man's knowledge of things is limited both by space and time, but to the infinite being, unlimited space is, as it were, a single point, and the past and the future are like the present. Allah sees or knows the future as a man would know what is passing before his eyes. Allah's knowledge of the future, therefore, though far above and far superior to man's knowledge, is like the knowledge of the present, and mere knowledge of things does not interfere with the choice of the agent or the doer. Hence, Allah's foreknowledge has nothing to do with predestination. We're talking about Qadr, and in English that means predestination. That this is a subject that in Hadith is said that many people went astray because of the subject of predestination. We were just dealing with the subject of foreknowledge of Allah. Now, some people say, well, if it's already written that I was going to do a certain thing, then I'm helpless. I got to do that thing. And if Allah knew what I'm going to do, then Allah's knowledge is perfect. Therefore, I'm a slave. I'm predetermined to do good or evil because Allah's knowledge. That's what somebody say. This is a wrong interpretation. Remember, Allah created you, and this taswiyah gave you takween, a shape, a form, a capacity. Remember, Allah says in the Quran that I created man and in the best shape, in the best form, right? And he can rise to the highest of the high, or he can sink to the lowest of the low, right? That's what. Now, in the meantime, Allah created us, and we have a capacity and ability to do good or evil. Now, Allah knows what we're going to do because Allah knows everything. See, for me and you, we got a past, we got a present, and we got a future. Just try to imagine the Creator, Allah, always has been and always will be. That's kind of tough to do, right? Always has been, no beginning for Allah, there's no end. The creation, on the other hand, had a beginning, right? That Allah created creation. There's creator, Allah, and there's creation. All these trees, everything we see has a time limit, it has limitations, right? It has all those things that it's subject to. Allah is unlimited, and Allah is not subject to any of those things. So when it says that this predestination, which is a part of our belief, it means that we're going to arrive at the destination that Allah knows we're going to, that's what for not. He knows where we're headed. But in the meantime, you have the choice. You're going to get to the road. Crossroads, got this way, that way, right? You got to figure out which one of those roads you're going to take. But Allah already knows which way you're going to go. Because Allah knows everything, right? But Allah gave you the ability to make that choice and the responsibility that goes along, or the accountability. Allah's al-Hasib, He's going to hold you accountable for what? The choice that you take, right? But He's not going to make you make the choice. He knows what you're going to do. And a lot of people say, well, if God knows, if Allah knows what I'm going to do, I'm sunk, because I got to do that. They're trying to ease out of it. It don't go like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what we're going to do, but He gives you the choice. Now, the word Rabb we was talking about a minute ago, you know, abdul-alim, Lord of the worlds. The Arabic word Rabb conveys not only the idea of fostering or bringing up or nourishing, but also that of regulating, completing, and accomplishing, i.e., of the evolution of a thing from the crudest state to that of the highest perfection. According to Raghib, the choreographer of Quran centuries ago, and Hadith, Rabb signifies the fostering of a thing in such a manner as to make it attain one condition after another until it reaches its goal of completion. Hence, Rabb is the author of all existence, who has not only given to the whole of creation its means of nourishment, but has also beforehand ordained for it a sphere of capacity, and within that sphere provided the means by which it continues to attain gradually to its goal of perfection. By the use of the word Rabb, the Holy Quran thus hints at the law of evolution, which is working in the universe. There is no single word in English carrying the significance of the word Rabb. Nourisher unto perfection would be nearest, but the word Lord, Lord of the worlds, it's a little deeper than that. The word Lord has been generally adopted for the sake of brevity. Rabb, or nourisher to perfection, however, includes both the physical and the spiritual side, so far as man is concerned. His word being the spiritual nourishment through which man is brought to perfection. That's a little deep. You remember talking about rising from stage to stage and moving, and remember, you shall surely embark on stage after stage, or the other translation, you shall surely ride upon event after event. La tabarkan, tabakan and tabakin. I like the one, you shall surely ride upon event after event. Now, remember, about this evolution, what we're talking about is you and I don't worry about where you're at today. You can figure out the best place in your mind that you would like to be as a human being, as a religious person, and you can reach that destiny, or somewhere close to it. We are not a prisoner of the present, nor are we a prisoner of the past. We have the capacity to evolve and to improve. That's what abdul-alim means, that Allah, the word Rabb takes into so much characteristics, that Allah created us, Allah organized us, developed us, and placed us in an environment that gives us an unlimited capacity to move from stage to stage according to our ability. And if we don't have a certain ability, we're not accountable for it. A person is kind of off mentally and what have you, right? They don't have to fast during Ramadan. They don't have to do all their 5 prayers. If they do any, it's good, because they don't have the capacity. They're not accountable, isn't that right? When you get told too old and too weak, and you can't fast during Ramadan, you try to give something to help somebody else and do things like that, right? You're not held accountable for things that you're incapable of doing. That's why Allah is just. Allah ain't gonna hold you accountable while you should have saved the whole world. Well, I wasn't able, right? I don't have the ability. It's beyond my capacity. So I am not accountable for that. This is why Allah is a judge, not people. Right? If people were the judge, well, he was so smart, he thought he could do this, right? That's what people are going to say. But Allah said, Allah knows what our ability and what our capacity was. On this moving from stage to stage, surely you will ride, or you will mount up, or you will evolve from stage to stage. Sayyid Qutb said, and remember this is one of our favorites here, you shall certainly ride stage after stage. That is to say, you will pass from one stage of suffering to another, to what has been predestined for you. The Quran uses the term ride to denote the ongoing of various stages of suffering. Ride is frequently used in Arabic to signify the passage through risk and difficulty. This usage suggests that difficulties and risk are like horses or mules to be ridden. Each one will take the riders the stage predestined for you and for them. Thus each one will deliver them to the new stage, which is again predetermined. That's why I read it, because it talks about predestination. Of course, Sayyid Qutb's tafsir is probably the best that we can get hold to. So when you face difficulty, and you face challenges in life, and you face anything that's beyond your present capacity or your present ability, you're not limited by that. You have the ability to evolve stage by stage. Remember when it hinted, it says that the other tafsir said that this Rabb is a hint at evolution. That you have the ability to evolve to higher and higher levels, from the crudest to the most sophisticated. That's why we have indeed created man in the best shape, that is Tafweed, the setting up, the raising up, the reformation or reorganization, reshaping, modification. So we have indeed created man in the best shape. Then we revert him to the lowest of the low. Radakna, to return, give back, put back, reverted or restored to a certain condition before. We gave him the best of everything, then we reverted him, not allowed, made him go back, to the lowest of the low. Except those who do good deeds, they will have a reward without cessation. As-Sabiqun, that's the lowest station that you can get to, right? So remember, this is what it says. Allah created us with the best form, the best shape, the best technique, full of capacity and ability. Now, whether we rise to the highest of the high, or whether we revert to the lowest of the low, if we follow our constant companion, Shaitan, right? He's going to assist us in reverting back to the lowest of the low, right? He's going to point out every highway to destruction. Oh, you want to go somewhere? Look here. This is the road to take. He's going to be there always, just like a road map. You drive down, trying to figure out how to get somewhere, and Shaitan going to flag you. Where are you trying to get to, brother? Oh, I'm trying to go to California. You're going to California. Here you go. This is a road map. How to get to California. So the Shaitan gonna give you a map to every house of prostitution on the way, every dope house along the way to California, right? He gonna reroute you. He ain't gonna make you go there, but he's gonna give you the route. You take this route. He gonna have you going on a zigzag course. Not Sirat al-Mustaqim, right? He gonna try to drive you through every crooked town in the Midwest till you get to West. He gonna have you go all the way down to Vegas, then up to Reno, then to Sacramento, and finally to San Francisco over. He gonna send you all a long way around to try to get you, right? He gonna try to guide you and lead you to the lowest of the low. As-Sabiqun. Except those who believe and do good. Ila ladina amanu wa amila salihat. Except those who believe and work righteous deeds. You notice over the years we've always been getting back to amilu salihat. Working righteous deeds. Don't you know that is the essence of what this is all about? Doing good deeds. And we have the capacity. Now I'm going to fool you by closing, but I'm going to read my favorite series of ayats that deals with a namesake that I have tried to copy by the English meaning. Said Moses, said Musa, O my sustainer, open up my heart to thy light, and make my task easy for me, and loosen the knot from my tongue, so that I might be fully understood, understand my speech. And appoint for me out of my kinfolk one who will help me to bear my burden, Harun, my brother. Add thou through him to my strength, and let him share my task, so that together we might abundantly extol thy limitless glory, and remember thee without ceasing. Verily, thou seest all that is within us. Said he, that is Allah, thou art granted all that thou hast asked for, O Musa. And indeed, we bestowed our favor upon thee at the time long since past. And we sent his mother by inspiration, throw it, that is the basket, into the river. Thereupon the river will cast him ashore, and one who is an enemy unto me and an enemy unto him will adopt him. Thus early I spread my own love over thee, and this is in order that thou mightest be formed under mine own eyes. And thou wert under my own eyes when thy sister went forth and said to Pharaoh's people, shall I guide you to a woman who might take charge of him? And so we return thee to thy mother, so that her eye might be gladdened, and that she might not sorrow any longer. And when thou camest of age, thou didst slay man, but we did save thee from all grief, although we tried thee with various trials. Then thou didst sojourn for years amongst the people of Midian. And now thou hast come here as ordained by me, O Moses, for I have chosen thee for my service. And I read this whole thing to get to this last word, as ordained by me. Taqdir, that's the whole thing. Or Qadr, Ya Musa. This whole presentation personally sums up a life, and it sums up the talk today. The subject of Qadr of Allah, the subject of tawakkul, putting your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the subject of Tafweed, delegating your life and actions to Allah, and then Rida, being happy with what Allah sent you. All of those are encapsulated in these few short ayats and these ideas. That we're not a prisoner, no matter how you look at this world today. If you look at the world, the Muslims are catching it. But out of this filth that we're going through, Islam is still rising. That out of this present day fitna, we're going to be, with Allah's help, in a position to assist the world in becoming a better place. That's where Amalul Salihat comes in. So, for me personally, I like those ayats relating to Musa alayhi salam. When he asked Allah to open up, make it easy for me to speak to people. Because remember, as we said last week or the week before, Musa alayhi salam studied. He studied. Can you imagine him going to Pharaoh? Pharaoh said, Pharaoh, let the people go. The whole court was laughing at him because it took him half an hour to get to it. So he asked Allah, Harun, my brother, this guy is eloquent. Let him do the speaking. I'll come and I'll be present and I'll be pushing this thing with all what you give me. But the talking part, I want my brother to help me. Right? And Allah gave him his brother and whatever else he needed. Then Allah told him, you know, I've been with you all the time. Way before you was paying attention to all of this stuff. When the whole system, the whole establishment, the whole pharaonic system was out to destroy all the children of a certain age because of a prediction about the coming of a prophetic person, right? To rescue Bani Israel. Pharaoh, Tagut, was going to slaughter, he slaughtered everybody. So, in the Arabic it says that Musa's mother got wahi, but this is not wahi, this is more like ilham. Wahi is for prophets. They got a book, they got all, it's written out. But this is evidently a type of ilham, it's a type of inspiration. Well, Allah just said, put that boy in a basket and put him in the river, and then after a while, he said, marry him, follow the basket, see where it goes. And a mother is worried about her son. Allah is so generous and so good that when the enemy, now in the Bible it is Pharaoh's sister, but of course in the Quran it was, we believe it was Pharaoh's wife that picked him up, right? And he's there, the same guy they're trying to get rid of, is they bring him right into the house. That gets you ready for the downfall of this boy here. The one that they embrace, bring him into the house, is the same one that's going to outline and lead them to their own destruction. So you don't worry about it, you just ask Allah, and you get in motion, and Allah will direct you. That's when He's going to create everything, going to give it capacity, going to give it an ability, and He's going to give it hidayah. That's you and me too. Do we have to know how we're going to influence and change this society? Do we have to have a grand scheme? Absolutely not. This is where tawakkul comes in. This is where this is where Tafweed, turning your life over or your actions over to Allah. Turning your future over to Allah. This is psychological, this is a spiritual commitment that you're placing. Is deeper than tawakkul. They're similar. Tawakkul is trust and confidence in Allah, but Tafweed is a little different. You're turning your whole thing over to Allah. And then Rida is you're happy, you accept whatever Allah give you. This is great, right? You accept that. So, we're not prisoners here in America. We're not prisoners to no crackpot like Donald Trump. Donald Trump, the best thing that ever happened to the world, right? He's running the United States of America in the ground way faster than anybody else could. His open hatred for Islam, for women, for people of color, I don't care who, he done made everybody mad. There ain't nobody in the world could have made Europe mad. The Europeans, they homeboys. The Canadian, the best friend, you know Canada, some people in Canada refer to themselves as the 51st state. The only Canada and America has never fought. The only thing back in the 1800s where it was a border dispute way up in Washington, y'all might have heard 54-40 a fight. I don't know if y'all have. That means there's some line of deep mark, 54 degrees, 40 something or other. They said 54-40 a fight. That was over 100 some years ago, 150 years ago, at least. And they done messed up Canada. The United States, Europe, and all of them fought the Germans to a standstill and the Japanese 75 years ago, 73 years ago. They had NATO, CETO, and every other kind of it. And now the dumb Americans. This clown, and everybody mad at him. We're happy with him. It ain't nobody can make everybody mad. And I said I was going to read, I wasn't going to go off, but it just allowed me a minute or two. You got to think about this. Here's old America. It haven't been never in the UN when the President of the United States goes to the UN and opens his mouth and everybody starts laughing at it. Laughing at that joke. And everybody he mentioned, they'll show you the Germans back there giggling and laughing. You don't never see the Germans laughing at nothing. They just sit down like this. Then the dummy, your president, hosted a Security Council meeting. And everything he said that he was for, whether it was Britain, Germany, France, everybody that came up next said, we for what you against. We want to throw Iran out, we want to turn it, just foaming at the mouth. And everybody else said, no, we down with that. You couldn't do that yourself. You don't have the power. You don't have the ability. You don't have the strategic ability to bring down the United States of America. That's Allah's job. Musa alayhi salam didn't have the ability to bring down no Pharaoh with his whole army. All he did was follow orders. Y'all get on out of here. They moving on. Here come Pharaoh. So it better. Can you imagine they back up against the sea? And what is Bani Israel, like Negroes? Now look what you got us into, Moses. There's the sea and there's Pharaoh. You talking all that big talk about we gonna go to freedom into the promised land? There's Pharaoh and his whole army right there. We can throw a rock at them. And they sharpen their knives and they coming to get us. And Moses is standing there with a staff. They said, don't worry about nothing. Everybody said, boy, you better get busy in a hurry or we're going to knock you over. We're going to get rid of you. We ain't putting up with this. You done brought us out here. Now the Bible gets even worse. They said, Moses, you done got us out here. We had it better at the flesh pots of Pharaoh. We had it better in slavery than operating around out here. Then Moses hit a rock, bam, in the ocean, the sea. Turned to dry land. Right? This is in the Quran, this is in the Bible. And Bani Israel just walked right on through, just dry as they can be. Right? And then Pharaoh said, if they can do it, I can do it. As soon as they get through, here comes Pharaoh, right? There's a reason Allah put this in the Quran. There's a reason I like it, I love it. That's why I chose the name, Musa. Because I knew our people was like Bani Israel. It don't make no difference what you do. The Bani Israel, after they got through the sea, Pharaoh drowned it. What do they say? Man, we need some other stuff to eat, man. We got all this free manna and quail and stuff. We want other stuff. And you know how bad it is in the hot desert, and Allah sent a shade along with them, the cloud, to follow them around. You think they're happy? No. Musa go up the hill for a little while to get some commandments, and he come back and they done made a calf. Get all your stuff together. Other people got little gods. Somebody might say, well, but God put a cloud around us. And, Pharaoh got, the Quran says, and this happened while you watched. The people, Quran say, the people saw that happen. Did they say, oh, I'm convinced? They didn't say that. So we're going to get us a calf, a golden calf, and it can't talk, it can't do nothing. And it was hollow, had a little hollow sound to it. And he wasn't gone 20 minutes, and they had already forgot about all of that goodness. Don't let you and I be like that. When we see the monster being brought down in front of the world, that's our Pharaoh, that's in our time. And we don't want to be like Bani Israel. No matter what happened to them, they want more. That ain't nothing. I don't care. And remember, I said 2 weeks ago that the difference between Musa's people and the people of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was one main difference. The Arabs were independent people. Throughout history, you know, when Alexander the Great went all up through Afghanistan and India and came back around Arabia, the top of Arabia, he sent spies down to Arabia. You know what the spies said? They said, boss, them Arabs down there don't do nothing but drink and fight. It ain't nothing to conquer down there. Go on back to, and he came right on across, that's to Alexandria in Egypt. Ascandaria, that's what it's Alexandria. It came across to Egypt where it was so-called civilization. Big stuff happening. Left them Arabs alone. They're down there, but those Arabs were independent and unconquered. Bani Israel was like me and you. They lived under Pharaoh for hundreds of years, and therefore they got a type of psychosis. That they can't do it without Pharaoh's approval. That all their work should go to help Pharaoh. That's the way we are, right? We got this Islam, we still sitting here second-class Muslims. Not doing our job. Because we like Bani Israel. When they got all them blessings brought to them, and they saw them happen, you see in the UN, now we didn't talk about it here for years, I will tell you the truth. And we may do make a fool out of America. Don't bring it down, don't blow it up. Just make a fool out, make people laugh at those things. I'll tell you why we did that. The other part that I didn't read about, I'll read a little ahead. It's at the end. And thou didst sojourn for years among the people of Midian. And now thou hast come here as ordained by me, O Moses, for I have chosen thee for my service. That's where I always stop. But there's another part. Go forth, then, thou and thy brother, with my message, and never tire of remembering me. Go forth, both of you, unto Pharaoh, and verily he has transgressed beyond bounds. He has become tagut. Tagut means a stream that overflows the space. Tagut is somebody that's went overboard. They've exceeded all the limits. But then it says, but speak unto him in a mild manner, so that he might bethink himself, or at least be filled with apprehension. So, this is called the niggerization of religious guidance. That's what it is. Moses said, go to Pharaoh. We have never talked harsh about the United States. Tell the truth. Think about it. We talk like a little tough, but in the early years, we said, now you ought to be good to the people. Ain't nobody did you no wrong. You ought to just straighten up a little. For decades, we talked like that for the U.S. But after a while, you got to change tactics a little. You're not going to be talking gangster talk, but what you're going to be talking is a type type of humor So now, Musa alayhi salam, have arrived at, then thou hast come on a destiny, O Musa, destiny. Of course, for him now, destiny is the decree, is divine decree, is destiny, is commission. Now, Musa can be commissioned. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam can be commissioned, but you and I are not commissioned. We can be directed, we can be guided, we can be all of that. But not commissioned mean a station of prophethood, is basically what the Quran is saying. So the Negro is not commissioned. But the people he's dealing with have transgressed, have crossed all limits. Layin, tender, mild, and gentle, flexible. Yatadakkaru, that he might remember, that he might take heed. So that's been our policy of making fun of the mean old American government. That's the memorization of guidance. What does that mean? That we put this stuff in our language to the people we're dealing with in our time. And we have seen the monster going down. Why don't we now release ourselves from the self-image psychology of 400 or 500 years of a slave mentality, of a Jim Crow mentality, and put our trust and confidence in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And turn our lives over to Allah, Tafweed. Because the American people and the world need you. You are located at the center of the world for today. This is the Rome of ancient times. This is the Great Britain of ancient times, when the sun never set on the British Empire. That was when I was born. Now it never rises on it. As Malcolm said, this boy is washed up. Pax Romania, Pax Britannica, Pax Americana, they all met their destiny. Now close with this. What about you and I? We're going to leave the world to just go through the changes like it is, or we're going to go through it and help administer some direction and some guidance for the good of humanity. Amalu Salihat. Remember, like everything in America, we get it first. If it's bad, we get it first, right? So white folks are mad now. We are so mad. You see these white women grabbing the senators. Why don't you listen to us? And they're talking about the injustice. They don't know nothing about no injustice, right? So they mess with you and I. But who's the one who's qualified to administer some tonic, some medicine to this place called America? We can bring America to Islam. We can spread Islam back to the world, but a functional Islam, not that stuff they practice in Saudi Arabia or Jordan or wherever they come from. Everybody is practicing their Islam, their cultural Islam, right? Remember how we came to Islam? We had the Quran and Hadith, and we tell people, I don't want your cultural stuff. I gave a speech in '82 at the University of California and said, we don't want Pakistanism, we don't want Iranianism, we don't want Arabism, we want Islam. Because everybody was teaching us what they had and calling it Islam. And we hanging out with everybody. Remember the old days, we would filter everything through the Quran and Hadith. You remember those days? We filtered everything through Quran and Hadith. That's how we was able to differentiate culture. And so we were, with less knowledge, but more adherence to the Quran and Hadith, we was practicing a better form of Islam in these neighborhoods right here than the people who came here from other places. Why? Because theirs was a culture. They happened to be born in a Muslim area, so they accepted it. You and I, we became Muslims. And I'm going to close in a minute. But we submitted ourselves to the immigrant community that have bigger mosques and they speak better Arabic and all of that, and therefore you feel inferior. And now the Islam, the ISNA, ICNA, and all these big groups is hey man, I ain't gonna talk about nobody. I love all the Muslims, but that's punkified. That's cowardice. That's letting America stand in front of your face and tell you how good they are and how honest they are. You say, yeah, boss, you're honest because you're glad to be here. Well, me and you ain't that glad to be here. And the reason we staying here because you brought us here illegally and now we're going to have some say-so. We're not sitting in the back seat anymore. But we have to help the whole world from here, but with true Quranic, Hadith, historical, and a human basis from experience. Oh Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and ignorance. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us with what is lawful. Keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from want of what is besides thee. Ameen. We come at this time.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.